Lesson 10. The camel fears a hump. In the beginning of culture, when the world was so new and the animals were just beginning to work for humans, there was a camel. He lived in the middle of a desert because he did not want to work. He ate sticks, thorns, milkweed and prickles. When anybody spoke to him, he said, "Humph, just humph, and no more." One Monday morning, the horse came to him with a saddle on his back and said, "Camel, oh camel, come out and tote like the rest of us." "Humph," said the camel. The horse went away and told the man. On Tuesday, the dog came to him with a stick in his mouth and said, "Camel, oh camel, come and fetch and carry like the rest of us." "Humph," said the camel. The dog went away and told the man. On Wednesday, the ox came to him with the yoke on his neck and said, "Camel, oh camel, come and fluff like the rest of us." "Humph," said the camel. The ox went away and told the man. At the end of the day, the man called the horse, dog and the ox together and said, 303, I am very sorry for you, but that hump thing in the desert can't work, or he would have been here by now. I am going to leave him alone. You must work double time to make up for it." That made all the three very angry. The camel laughed at them, said, "Humph," and went away again. Presently, there came along the djinn in charge of all deserts, rolling in a cloud of dust. The djinns always travel that way because it is magic. He stopped to meet with the three. "The djinn of all deserts," said the horse, "is it right for anyone to be idle with the world so new?" "Certainly not," said the djinn. "Well," said the horse, "there is a thing in the middle of your desert with a long neck and long legs. He hasn't done stroke of work since Monday morning. He won't trot." "Phew," said the djinn, whistling, "that's my camel. What does he say about it?" "He says, 'Humph,'" said the dog, "and he won't fetch and carry." "Does he say anything else?" "Only 'humph,' and he won't pluff," said the ox. "Very good," said the djinn. "I will hump him if you will kindly wait a minute." The djinn rolled himself up in his dust cloak and took across the desert. He found the camel standing idle, looking at his own reflection in a pool of water. "My long and tall friend," said the djinn, "what's this I hear of your doing? No work with the world so new." "Humph," said the camel. The djinn sat down with his chin in his hand. He began to think a great magic, while the camel looked at his own reflection in the pool of water. "You have given the three extra work ever since Monday morning, all on account of your idleness," said the djinn. "Humph," said the camel. "I shouldn't say that again if I were you," said the djinn. "I want you to work." And the camel said, "Humph," again. But no sooner had he said it than he saw his back that he was so proud of, pulling up and puffing up into a great big humph. "Do you see that?" said the djinn. "That's your very own humph that you have brought upon yourself by not working. Today is Thursday and you have done no work since Monday when the work began. Now you are going to work." "How can I?" said the camel. "With this hump on my back that's made with a purpose," said the djinn. "You missed those 3 days. You will be able to work now for 3 days without eating because you can live on your hump. And don't you ever say I never did anything for you. Come out of the desert and go to the tree and behave." And the camel went away to join the tree. And from that day to this, the camel always wears a hump that we call hump now.